This is your daily market review for Tuesday, July 16, 2024. Let's go. Hey everyone, this is my channel to help investors and traders develop a probability-based mindset to succeed. Also try and keep friends informed of what's going on in the markets and the economy, and also a little real estate content as well. This is Dan Max at EXP Realty, aka The Trading Agent. This is your daily market review for Tuesday, July 16, 2024. Hopefully you're having a great day. As we talked about, options expiration, up part of the week, down part of the week, chop around, all sorts of fun and games. Well, going into the close, got the pump. Now, this is where I'd say be on red alert. And people are like, what does that mean? Well, think about it. If you're going to suck people in, and I really mean this, like pull people into one direction or not, this is where you get it, right? You draw people in to think that certainty is happening, like you can't go wrong near term. And again, long term, it's hard to say. Again, as we've recommended, more of a trader's market. Think of that near term going into the summer as we get closer to, say, September, where the actual real rate hikes potentially, or rate cuts, would start. And again, on record saying the same thing. Just be careful chasing positions, because it seems to be there's this never-ending game of what? Trying to pump the market into a place as the economic output data gets much worse overall. Again, that's why I think you're seeing the odds of a rate cut, I don't want to say hike, cut rising, but also going to potentially a 50 basis point. If they cut 50 basis points in September, do not be surprised by where the economy is at that point, because it could be falling off a cliff. And that's the thing. They don't do big cuts, big hikes, unless there's big problems. So, if you're new to the channel, check out the Discord room, link description below. Need any help in real estate, I'm telling you, reach out. A lot of people talking about buying and selling homes. Do yourself a favor, get prepared. Whether you're buying, selling, investing, have yourself a plan, reach out, let me know what I can do to help. Again, if you let me find you an agent anywhere in the country, you get 2 agents for the price of 1, and I'd be honored to help you out. Because again, if you think about excellence and things that I stand for, what I hopefully you believe in, you're gonna get good service on all ends. So again, follow on Twitter, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. If you want to chat, again, live Zoom chat, use the Calendly link. Also check out the website. Tons of resources. Again, did a live chat today. Reference this book, Reminiscence of a Stock Operator. I know it's long, but it's well worth it. It is an amazing book. Again, all the Twitter stuff, all the YouTube stuff, all of everything is on the website. And then also, again, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. It means a lot. Great honor when people actually share, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. That's cool. I appreciate it. So here we go. September, 91%. Now you're starting to see this start to grow. I haven't seen this since yesterday, and you can see even one day ago, was that actually 8%? A week ago it was 0.1. So it's starting to climb. What I'm referencing here is actually a 50 basis point cut. Keep that in mind. This is why one of the best trades I think potentially coming up is TLT potentially. We'll talk about that. Some trade talked about in the live chat as well. If you get a chance, well worth it. 30 minutes of fun games, going over trades, people talking about all sorts of ideas. So Bitcoin, we talked about this kind of breaking below, coming back, chopping around, needed to hold. Okay, well, it's a big choppy range in my opinion. Near term, tough to say, because I'm not a big fan of dojis after big moves, because they either lead to chop or a gap and go. And so this is where it gets really hard, because now you're in this fine, like this very fine line of all or nothing. And people are like, well, what does that mean? Well, it means near term overbought, right? You go from 53 up to 65,000. That's not small. So it puts a position where you can go sideways. And if it gets even more exuberant, then don't be surprised you come back to 70,000 quickly. Oil, sorry, excuse me, a little congestion. We talked about, rising on the hurricane, sell the news on the hurricane, and how probably CPI, PPI going into next report is going to be high. Obviously, look at the gasoline prices went up, right? You go from 72 to 84, 20% move essentially. Not surprised when, again, you're going to see this in the CPI, PPI data. However, now that it's pulling back, should be good for the market and the economy, potentially. Hindsight 2020, again, we've always talked about this. They throw the baby out of the bathwater. That's my biggest concern, is that when they do flush it, they're going to throw everything with it, and oil will come down too. And that's where it said, if you saw COVID, you saw negative oil prices. Like, that's bonkers. So keep that in mind. Let me know, again, what your thoughts. Be safe. All right. Let's get into some of the names. Again, it's watching gold's close. Dollar chopping, holding the 200-day. Again, economic weakness. This has been holding up. The best turd in the toilet, as I'd like to call it, dollar. All currencies have been turds, in my opinion. When you think about relative value and how they devalue them endlessly to pay for endless budgets that no one has really a budget. It's just spending, government spending endlessly. TLT, here we go. Here we go. Talked about this in the live chat. What is the best way to confuse the shit out of everybody? Excuse my language. It's to do the opposite before you actually go on the move. This is one of the things we talk about in early, like coming off the lows. Like there's always going to be some like, here you go. Big move, consolidation, confuse everybody, think it's going lower. Now we're back at 94. If you take out 94, zero doubt in my mind, you will see a 100 handle at some point. It's downtrends. It's all sorts of like crazy stuff. Again, from the past. I mean, I got to clean up this chart at some point. I apologize. It's a little messy. But I have no doubt. That's not a bad risk reward. Again, especially if you can buy some like leverage on it and it's safe. It's treasuries. That's the thing. Like I've said this over and over. If the feds want functioning markets, they don't mind a pullback. Like they're going to want some money to run into the bond market. They can't be functioning as the only buyer of bonds. Keep that in mind. They need a little fear and greed, or a little fear, offset the greed. VIX talked about earlier in the week, hey, these little gap ups, curious that it's rising as the market seems to be holding up. Just worth a watch. VIVIX, same thing, holding up pretty well. SPY got over the highs, the range watch. Again, candle's kind of tight. Again, watching the 10-minute. I'm a big fan of the 10-minute. Look at the close, right? Got over it and then gave it back after hours. Yeah. Again, it's OPEX. Just be careful. There's games. That's all I can really say. I wish I knew for certain. I wish I had a crystal ball because I would tell you exactly what's going to happen. But again, then I'd be a trillionaire and the market would not be what it is, a mechanism for taking money. Q. Holding the 20-day. Again, we talked about how when trash floats last and tech starts lagging, be careful. IWM, look at this. Again, I'm really eyeing the short here, but it's like, I start thinking like Monday of OPEX. No. Tuesday of OPEX, maybe. Worth watching now. Now, again, do I really want to short this? Again, I'm starting to think maybe not so much. However, I do think at some point, this is pretty solid move up. It's going to be leading some chop, which should help with other names. And that's where it's like, pick and choose your battles, right? DIA, look at that big volume breaking out. Like everyone piling out of tech. We talk about this. Money's never destroyed. It just rotates, dances, right? Here you go. Keep an eye on it. Gold. This is where we've talked about July seasonality. Everyone's like, well, you're chasing it. I'm like, no, I'm not going to chase it. But here's the thing. If you're long it, don't sit here and go, well, Dan doesn't like it. No, we talked about seasonality. It could go. I'm just going to wait for what? Patience. Again, when the market pulls back, I have no doubt there'll be weakness. Will gold rise? Potentially. There'll be weakness at some point, right? We talked about this is a big cup and handle. This has got a lot of room to run. I'm not worried about it. Be great opportunities. But if you're long it, congratulations. Like I said, people are always like, well, you don't own any. And I'm like, I don't own any paper. Wink, wink, right? Silver. It's tough to trust when silver's lagging, right? Like, so go look back at 2009, 2000. Like, this is what I wanted to see. Like, this helps me confirm gold going nuts. Now, we're building. Can't get wrong with the silver monthly, but it's not leading. And I like to see silver ripping. Because that to me says, however, you got to give credit. We're miners. Again, we've talked about, I hate to show a ton of monthlies, but think about it. Like miners, we've talked about. GDX, sorry, I start usually GDXJ. GDX, been lagging, right? Right. So now look at it. But here's the hardest thing is like even in 2008, 2009, even in COVID, China stuff, look at this. It'll be quick. But if they do pull back, that's where I'll be sitting there like, come to daddy. And if they don't, well, guess what? It won't be the first trade I've ever missed. GDXJ, right? Same thing. Again, holding up, give them credit. AG, finally, like a little bit of catch up, I guess. I don't know. This thing has been dogging. We like AEM in the long term. This is what's so hard is that, a year from now, I have no doubts that if you're holding on to this stuff, you're not going to get hurt. But there might be pain in the near term. And that's where it's like, I'd rather do what I always do and just patience. Let things come to me. If I miss some moves, they'll be later. Newmont, we've talked about. Once you got over this 43, 45 area, booyakasha, no doubt you could get into the 50s very quickly. PAAS, holding up pretty well. Credit where credit is due. Credit. Taiwan Semi, again, semis, ASML after the hours. Don't let me forget to say that. Check that guy out. Shortly after this, I think they have, oops, I'm mean, just like getting after it. It's like, oof, right? Like, oof, oof, oof. Because again, that can affect the market after hours. No, I think it's tomorrow morning. Sorry, JB Hunt. Ooh, revenue, transportation companies. Yikes. Okay. Yeah, after hours, that one's chopping around. Sorry, ASML is in the morning. I apologize. I got antsy. I'm like, oh, did I forget something? Because that's some semis. You got Taiwan Semi on Thursday, and again, I mean, I think you got to be high out of your mind to be chasing this stuff. I mean, it's not like these are small moves. This is big moves that need to consolidate. Or again, as I've always said, commodities, chips become a commodity. Once someone makes someone great, they're all gonna copy them. Micron, we've said hold the 50-day, break down. However, I did say watch on the 10-minute because again, if you go back intraday, you'll see 127s. Said the same thing on the live chat. AMD. Talked about this one being like a laggard, but once it held it finally, you had a potential always to get up here. You had it here and you didn't get it. You finally got it. I mean, they're so close to the gap filling. I don't know. Near term. Again, it's a nice move. It's digesting. NVIDIA, again, I've gone on record. You got to be stupid to buy the stock, in my opinion. And people are like, oh, that's so mean to say. I'm like, no, look at it. 10 to 140. Without digesting. Okay, now they might make great chips, but isn't everyone going to come after them at some point? That's the hardest part. Watching the 20-day, I think the risk reward is the short. It's not the long, which, again, when I say that and people like, they gasp, and everybody does it, they're like, it means to me that no one, again, the market has set everybody up for them to think that it can't go lower. And that's when I think it probably should go lower. Does that make sense? Hopefully you learn that. Again, if you recognize the market as a mechanism to take the most amount of money from the most amount of people. SMCI getting added to the S&P 500. We talked about it, trading range. Again, this is what I'm talking about, say, with like NVIDIA, right? You're up here, and you're going, oh, I got to buy. And I'm sitting here thinking, well, this is probably what's going to happen. Worst case scenario, big chop, pullback, hence why the short is the highest, best risk reward. And then again, if it meant to go higher later, you can trade around it. Intellectual property, we talked about this one being crushed out, capitulation, chopping out, fills the gap. High and tight's good if you're bullish. Watch the 100-day, obviously, right? SMH holding up. Again, ton of names in there. Just worth a watch. Be careful. Adobe, we talked about wanting to short this. I need to get a retest. That works. I like this gap fill. I like this range here again. I have no problem, no qualms. Apple, again, I like the short here again. We have a novice cap after a big move. Now people say, well, you tried to short earlier. It's like, yeah, that's part of the game. Happens. You'll be wrong. Just like at lows, you won't be able to pick bottoms all the time. And guess what? And that's the thing. Things will go lower. That's part of it. It's a probability game. It's the best risk reward. This thing goes from 165 up to 236. And then yesterday they announced $8 billion in revenue off of India. $8 billion. That's cookies. Cookies, y'all. So again, to me, it feels like a novice cap trap. Worth a watch. Again, define your risk. You will be wrong. Amazon going into Prime Day. We talked about Bezos selling over 200 every single time. Not surprised. It's chopping. Meta. Breaking out. Breaking down. Breaking the 100-day. Better. Oh, what a close. 150-day. Be careful. CRM. We've talked about this one peaking out after oversold bounce. It feels like it's, I don't know. Could you retest? Could you chop around? I mean, all these things are possible. Just all I ask is whatever you do, define your risk. Don't just chase. Guggenheim, again, tech holding up so well for so long. Money's coming out. Microsoft, Mr. Softy, we identified the left-right combo with cheese. Said broke the 20-day. No doubt in my mind, at some point, you will come back to the 50, 430 area, 50-day and 430s area. And DAQ, again, I think this is setting up for an epic short. Is it now? That's the question. I'd be watching. I would be watching the 65, 64 level. Tight stops. Reddit, again, posted, talked about this one today on the live chat and said, do not chase the short. You got the 20-day. It does look like, again, if you flip this upside down, this would be a bottom. So this is where I think you get opportunity. I'd be watching the 72 to 71 area because, again, it looks juicy. It's like a repeating pattern. Again, there's a reason why patterns repeat. MicroStrategies, we talked about. Congratulations. We said we get up into this range. You got it. We even said on Monday, like hold 1500, zero doubt you're getting back up to the range highs. I said 1700 plus, but 1675, I don't know, pretty good in freaking 2 days. 175 points if you traded that with options. Booyakasha. You're doing pretty good. Netflix and Chill has earnings on Friday. We'll see if it's Netflix and Spill or Netflix and Grill Bears. We don't know. Riding the 50-day, it's a hard one to kind of wrap my head around right now. Roblox been holding up pretty well, back to a range high. This is why we draw the ranges. Keep an eye on it. Pan W, high and tight is bullish, holding the 20-day. Again, I like cybersecurity. Again, if Nancy Pelosi's buying, you should be buying. Tesla, chopping around. We like this one short at 265 after a big move, consolidation pattern potentially. Just keep an eye on it. Insight, again, stuff this in your portfolio long term. We talked about on dips, you should be buying this. Zoom out, watch previous recaps. McDonald's, here's a bear trap, right? Just breaks below, rallies back. We talked about bear traps at lows. Now it's chopping around. Reference from the past. Is it going to back to the highs? Good question. But if you bought the dip or if you bought the lows and you're waiting, you're good. Talked about DKNG, same thing. You kind of break below and then you rally back. Not surprised. It's a recurring pattern, y'all. It's so consistent. It's silly. Like it's the trap, right? It's the make the new low, make a new high, and then not go, right? Like that's how you suck people in. Airbnb, watching the 200-day, big choppy range. Costco seemed to, it looks like it's breaking. Breaks the 20-day, but you got to break like that 840 level. Seems to be holding it pretty good. Starbucks, here's an example of using references, right? Breaks below it, rallies back. Look at the close, right? Rallies back, not a bad trade. FedEx looked at the short on this, got stopped out. Don't really have much to say on it. It's acting up pretty well. Caterpillar, Dia was up huge today. Said watch this level if you continue to hold. Didn't watch it all day, but damn, it got freaking a $15 up move. Wow. Watch the 360s. Next reference. Nucor has earnings next week. Again, a lot of these names, so it's really hard to really do much. Again, we talked about chopping around. 50 days so far, so good. X. Again, another name we'd like to get bought out at some point. Watching 35s. VALE. Nothing crazy on this one. Chopping around. Arrow. Again, copper. We like this name long term. Again, CCJ. I don't like to chase when Goldman upgrades the highs after a big move. Just preference. CF, again, if you played the ag names, we said they're due for a bounce. They're up against reference points, especially Mosaic and NTR. Clear as day. Clear as day. Double bottoms, triple bottoms, quadruple bottoms, chop bottoms, whatever the hell you want to call it. These names all had references. If you traded off of them, congratulations. AA Aeron. Trying to speed up so this video isn't forever. Chopping around. Again, we like aluminum on the long term, but this, tough to know. XLF. Okay, got me. You got me, banks. You got me. I know you guys are carrying all the weight. I know Bank of America said today something had like $40 to $50 billion of write-off charge-offs at some point due to commercial banking. JP Morgan, they're not buying their own stock back, but guess what? It's holding up. So you got to respect it. Look at that wick on Morgan Stanley. Be careful. Bank of America, again, look at their earnings. Didn't sound that great, but near term, hey, holding up. Goldman Snacks. And if you got that Marcus account, not going out of business, here you go, carry. We've talked about this. Once it started building up in the IWM, watch this area in the 50s, right? The straight line move, 47 to 56, pretty damn quickly. XBI, if you traded this one, congratulations. We talked about this one, another one. Once you broke over 94, you had upside. Now you could probably assume the 103 plus. Congrats. Again, we talked about, look at this crazy move in housing. Holy shit, isn't it? Break below, bear trap, rally back to the highs in freaking 6 days. Get out of here. Housing is not as strong as it looks, but hey, guess what? You can't fight this action. If you get squeezed out, you got to go and get out. I know people are like, oh, I'm going to short forever. And it's no, this is why you define your risk. It's what happens if the trap is the trap and you're stuck in it and then you get beaten and then you don't have any capital, right? Dan, we talked about solar bouncing. Right? And then if Trump is leading, I don't trust it at all to hold up. Oversold near term. Some of these names, we talk about Sedge, right? Chopping around. Look at that thing. It goes to 300 down to 30. They're 26. ENPH, same kind of thing. Chopping around. Again, I personally, near term, I don't know. We've talked about some of these names. I like them for trades, but what do I want to do near term? I mean, if you're short from the highs, again, just keep an eye on the polling. If Trump keeps winning, solar has zero shot of really like going nuts, in my opinion, until the like it's going to price in him winning, and whatever that price is going to be is when it's going to be. Corporate debt breaking out. All right, you want to buy it? Go right ahead. And this is where, again, you have to decide what's best. USO, oil, talked about taking a break. UNG, again, I hate this product. I think it's an absolute piece of crap. However, I do like the idea of shorting the KLD because, again, I think that's the easy trade. We're into the next short potential area. Again, if you short it up here and then you cover down here like we talked about, you're winning. And now you're back up here. Do you want to start today? I don't know. Keep it on your radar. Put it in, like, again, if you want to build into a position, that's what you do. XOP, again, I like oil and gas names if Trump is looking good. Again, him not getting assassinated is probably the best thing for the market. Like, it really is near term. So it's kind of sad how that, everything played out, and you never want anyone to get hurt, but look, that's the benefit. Watching oil and gas names, CVE. Again, 20 area is resistance, but I do like it long term. We talk about some of these mid small caps, like, again, in time. Valero, we talked about the gasoline names, haven't been really doing so hot, which is a little hard, hitting the 200-day. MPC broke it and just been chopping down here at the 200-day. ExxonMobil, this one looks like it wants to go. I mean, you could argue maybe this is like a cup and handle 200-day. I was just thinking about it the other day. Keep an eye on it. Occidental, again, I mean, Buffett loves selling calls and puts on this, y'all. Buffett sell zone. Then you got EQT again. I like EQT. I love seeing it come down, right? Let it come down because it's a big consolidation pattern. Then Flex LNG, last but not least. Again, I think you can, bet on natural gas exporting in time. So again, if you have any questions, check out the links, description below for any help with the Calendly. If you want any help with the markets, real estate, don't be shy. Also, too, again, if you get a chance, watch the live chat from today. I think it's really beneficial to see how we draw the charts, how we kind of talk about these things in live action format. All right, have a great night. Talk to you later.